welcome. Today we're gonna do the marbled clay coasters project. So in your kit you got about 2.5 ounces of the Sculpey oven baked clay, and the directions for baking it, you want to preheat your oven to 275 and you'll bake them for 15 minutes as long as the object is 1/4 inch thick. So each kit makes 2 coasters. So if you wanted to do 4 coasters or more, double it, so 5 ounces of Sculpey if you want to do 4 coasters. Cover your work surface if you're working on something that needs protection. And then the first thing you're going to do is actually roll out your clay in different widths. So I kind of already started here, and I'll just kind of show you. You can just do it with your hands or on the table if need be. These don't have to be super smooth because you're just gonna mash them all together at some point. So no need for the rolling pin quite yet. And then we'll do the last 2 here. So you can see I have varying widths, some thick, thin, and I've got the 3 different colors here. Now, if you were to make your own, the whole idea is to have multiple colors since it's marbled clay. So I did get kind of a glittery one here. I've got kind of a nice gold color and then just like a matte black and a matte gray. So next thing you're gonna do is blend it all together. So we're just gonna kind of arrange them in varying sort of kind of like the black and the gold here. And then we're gonna just mush them together. And kind of twist them. You don't want them to totally blend together, but you do want to kind of get a good mixture of colors. So then I'm just going to form a ball here. So I feel like I twisted it pretty good. And you really just want to work the clay until the colors begin to blend together. Once you're kind of happy with, you can kind of keep twisting if you want. Once you're good with the kind of mixture you got, you're gonna take your rolling pin. If you don't have a rolling pin at home, you could always use any kind of smooth-sided, like an old, spaghetti sauce jar, or if you've got like a can, like a cleaner of some sort, you can use that. Anything that's kind of just smooth on the outside. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and roll this out. Want it to be uniform throughout, and like I said, to bake it for that 15 minutes at 275, you want it to be about 1/4 inch thick. So mine looks, if you roll it a little thinner, it's no problem, because we've got the cork backing. You just don't want to over bake it. So, let's see here. And that looks pretty good. Like you get that marbling effect kind of going. It's real pretty. So then you just have to kind of maybe flip it over and decide which side you like better. So I think I like seeing kind of the black. So I'm probably gonna go with this side here. Once you're happy with the marbling, it's all pretty even, and you pick which side you're gonna go with. I'm gonna go with this side. I like kind of seeing the big pops of black and then the big swaths of gold. It's time to cut out your shapes. So you can freeform this by using a knife and just kind of, you know, you don't have to do round coasters. You can do whatever you want. I also have a mason jar lid, so I didn't have a round cookie cutter, but if you had a cookie cutter, that would work as well. And I rolled out mine. Mine's about 1/8 of an inch thick all around, so it's pretty thin. So when I go to bake it, I'm not gonna bake it at the full 15 minutes at 275. I'm gonna check on it about halfway through. So for here, you're just gonna wanna, the nice thing about the mason jar is you can kind of see like what you're gonna get before you kind of punch out your coasters. So I think I'm gonna go and just, so there we go. And I might even need to use my knife actually. I can get it. Oh, there we go. I just had to push, give it a little bit more pressure. Okay, so that's one. So basically, you're just gonna put this on a cookie sheet that you've covered either with foil or parchment paper and then bake. And that looks really pretty. I kind of like both sides. So, what do we think here? We'll cut out these two. And then the last one, I'm just gonna kind of maybe freeform it and see how that looks. Maybe I'll kind of go with the edges I got here. And I would even, before you bake it, I would kind of smooth down those edges so you don't see like your jaggedy. You could probably either flip it and just give it a quick roll to kind of smooth that out a little bit. There we go. It kind of gives it more of like a natural kind of edge. Oh, that'll be unique. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and bake these and we'll see how they turn out. Okay, my coasters are out of the oven. I did end up baking them for 15 minutes total. I checked on them at about 8 minutes in, and they look like they need a little more time, but they hardened up really nicely. So I would say as long as you roll your clay to 1/8 to 1/4 inch thick, if you set the oven to 275, bake for 15 minutes, you should be good. The directions say that for every 1/4 inch, you need to bake for at least 15 minutes. So if you do thicker, you want to give it extra time. And if you kind of look, you can kind of see little air bubbles in mine. So if you want to avoid that, make sure as you're rolling it, you kind of pop those bubbles and smooth them out. The next step is to back them with the cork. So in each kit, you're gonna get 2 of the cork. They're like adhesive, so they got a pretty good stick on them. Depending on what kind of shape you have, you can simply just trace, and then you could even just kind of cut sort of on the inside, because you want it to go to the edge but not all the way. You don't want it to stick out. So I'm just gonna trace quickly. All right, and then we'll just go ahead and cut. So I'm gonna cut to the inside of my trace line because I want it to actually be smaller than the actual coaster. This will just give me a good guideline. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's on the bottom. So if it's not a perfect circle, no one will know. It just needs a little bit of backing so it doesn't slide around on your coffee table. All right. So we'll kind of test it out there. That's pretty good. It's almost to the edge, but not over, whereas when you're setting it down, you won't see it sticking out from the bottom. So I thought these were kind of cool. They had the sticky back. And when you're baking, I just wanted to point out, make sure you put your right sides up because the foil did kind of leave some markings on the wrong side. So to avoid that, be sure you bake with the right side up. Okay, just gonna give it a good press here so it sticks. That's nice. And then just to add a little bit of finishing to it, I've included a little bit of gold paint in everyone's kit. And you could just paint the edge, you could paint like a whole swath. It's really up to you. You don't have to paint at all. Everyone's got a foam brush. You can use that to kind of gingerly paint around the outside. If you've got a paintbrush, you could do that as well. I might actually try the foam brush and just give it a whirl. And I realize my gold clay is more of a coppery. This is kind of a champagne, but it'll give it a little gilded edge here. So just very gently paint the edge. If you get a little bit on the cork, it's no big deal because no one's going to see that side. So, and you just need a little bit of paint. That looks good. All right, so then you just let that dry. And if you wanted to, so the Sculpey clay itself isn't waterproof, so if you have a glass that's sweating, it could end up ruining the clay. So if you wanted, you can coat them, but I think even the long term, it probably still won't keep them totally protected. There is a dishwasher safe gloss Mod Podge that you could use, or even just regular Mod Podge to kind of give it a seal. The Mod Podge comes in glossy or matte, so depending on what kind of sheen you want to it. You could also get some sort of glaze if you really wanted to go kind of heavy duty. So you just gotta be careful when you use these because you wanna make sure you have plenty of ventilation. And as far as backing the one that's kind of more of a natural shape, again, I would do the same thing, you know, just lay it down, trace it, and then cut it out. And that's it, marbled clay coasters. Thank you and enjoy.